You're listening to the Public Health Entrepreneurs Podcast with your host, Dr. Charlotte Huntley. You started this business to make an impact, but if you never stop to work on your business, then you'll stay busy without actually moving forward. Today, we're talking about how to change that. Welcome to Public Health Entrepreneurs. I'm Dr. Charlotte Huntley, and this is the podcast for anyone building a business that improves health at the population level. I'm here to help you with entrepreneurial strategies that drive impact. Most entrepreneurs spend all of their time working in their business, but setting aside dedicated time to focus on strategies that help you work on your business will really change how you grow. So I'm going to share with you 3 key tips, takeaways, strategies, key points that I like for you to sift through. You may be able to embrace all 3, or you may just listen and one of them will ring really clearly for you and you'll be able to run with that. But there are 3 things I'd like to share with you around this topic. So let's start with the first one, which is understanding the difference between working in your business and working on your business. They can sound very similar and you may not have even thought about it, or maybe you're aware of it, but you find yourself having a very difficult time being able to make time to work on the business. So working in your business means all of the work, delivering the services, responding to clients, marketing, emails, scheduling, all the daily tasks involved with operations. So working in your business is keeping everything flowing every day. Working on your business is different. It means stepping back to evaluate what's working. You're stepping back to become the visionary. What is actually working? What is working efficiently? What is profitable? Evaluate of all of your activities, for example, for marketing, what's actually attracting the clients? What needs to change? What direction are you heading in? Is it the direction you want to be going? All of these are very important working on your business tasks, and they're very different from working in your business. Now, both of them are very important, very necessary. In the early stages, you're doing so much. Often it's just you and you're doing all of the things. So you're hustling and you're doing all these things in your business, but you also need that time to work on your business to make sure that you're gaining some momentum and you're moving in the right direction. Okay? So an example of some of the things when you're working on your business includes reviewing your revenue and expenses for the month. That's very much stepping back as the visionary. You're looking at what's working, where the money is going, how it's coming in, what the expenses are, what's going out. Another example is looking where your clients are coming from. If you're putting a lot of effort in, which we often do at the very beginning in a lot of different directions to see what's going to work, taking time to work on your business means you're trying to decide, okay, where are these clients coming from? Because then you know where to devote more of your attention to and how to make best use of your time and energy and resources. Another example is to evaluate which services are taking the most time or maybe which one's generating the most revenue. I think sometimes both of those are important to look into. You may love doing one thing or offering one service, but if you find that your clients are paying for and coming to you for a different service, then it's up to you as the owner, as you're working on your business, you're looking to see where the clients are being drawn to, what are they paying for, what are they most willing and inspired to solve, what problems are they most inspired to solve through your services. So seeing where your clients, which services they're really drawn to is a really important thing to do when you're working on your business. So there's so many examples of this, but I know of a public health consultant who was fully booked with client work and had no idea if she was actually profitable or not. When she finally blocked off a day to review her finances and her client list, she realized 2 of her clients were taking most of her time, but generating the least amount of revenue. So these are only things that you'll figure out when you pause to work on your business, when you pause from working in your business, doing all the things, and spend a little time working on your business. All right, here's the second takeaway or the second strategy that I'd like to share with you. So your time to work on your business, you should schedule it like an appointment. and protect it. And for people like me, that really works because I honor what's on my calendar. So if you schedule time to work on your business, however that looks, pick a day per month, 1 day per month, that's going to be your time to work on your business. Maybe it's a half day, maybe it's a couple of hours, but go somewhere different if you can. It makes a huge difference for you to get out of the regular environment. Leave your daily tasks behind and focus on the bigger picture of your business for that time. So I don't know how it looks for you in your calendar. Start where you can. If you're not doing it at all, starting with an hour is better than not doing anything, and you decide what you could do within that hour. Half day is the next best thing. I think you can get a lot done because as you start to focus on that, you may feel like you're overwhelmed, like I can't afford a half a day once a month, but I think it's really important to do. So just decide what that looks like. If it needs to be an hour at a time, a half day, or if it's a whole day, whatever it looks like, start to schedule that time for yourself to work on your business. Label it so that it's really visible and it feels intentional. And change your location when possible. So a coffee shop, a library, a co-working space. I've been in all of these setups and they're all wonderful and very helpful when you're trying to use that time on your business. I've talked about this whole concept plenty of times on this podcast, and this is not the last time I'll bring it up. It's really important. But when you're just getting started, just decide what you need to do. During the time that you are working on your business, I encourage you to turn off notifications. Let people know that you are unavailable. Sometimes you don't need to make a huge announcement, but maybe to your close family, friends that are used to you being available, let them know that you're unavailable for that block of time. But simply turning off notifications. People that are trying to reach you will leave a message. That email, you can get to it at the end of your time block. But during that, whatever time you blocked off, an hour, a half day, a whole day, focus on your business. So I know of a health educator who kept planning to do some strategic thinking, but it just never happened. When she started blocking out the last Friday of every month and going into a local coffee shop, she finally started making decisions that she had been putting off for months. So you'll find that that becomes some of your most productive time. And it becomes quickly the thing you realize the value, and it's the thing that you can't do without. I have a number of ways that I get this time block for myself. So I really encourage you to start wherever you can and then just be consistent. Okay, here's a third tip or strategy or point that I want to share with you on this topic, and that is to show up with an agenda. Don't just block off the time and just piddle around, but actually have some intention, show up with an agenda. You may have one or two questions that you want to answer about your business. One of those questions might be, where are my clients coming from? So during that time, you're just going to look at however you've taken notes or whatever your analytics are. Where are my clients coming from? That's an important question to answer in that block of time. Another question may be, am I charging enough? You will know that. And that's a question that you can ask and ponder during that time that you're working on your business. Also, what's taking up most of my time? If you just feel so overwhelmed all the time, like you start in the morning, you've got so much to do, and you work all day and you still don't feel like you put a dent in it, you're just always busy, using that block of time, you can start to ask yourself, what is taking up my time? So structure this time so that you can be very proactive and intentional instead of being overwhelmed. So I would say write down a question or two that is really pressing and bring it to that time that you're going to be working on your business. A few more examples. You can bring your revenue, expense reports, hours worked, client serves. Let's say you've decided in one setting that you're really busy and you're not really sure where all your time is going. So you decide out of that one session, I'm going to start tracking my time. So then the next month, when you sit down to work on your business, you can look at look at those reports and see where your time was spent. And then you can start to make some really important decisions about, what to do once you see it and If you have a bookkeeper, your bookkeeper gives you monthly reports about revenue, expenses. So sitting down during that time to work on your business and actually review those reports is a great example of using that time to work on your business. That's an example of working on your business because you're looking at the numbers and seeing, are the monies coming in and going out. I think it's great to set an intention to leave with at least one decision that you're going to make at the end of that time. Make it really clear. What am I doing? My next steps after this. There's so many things I could share with you about this, but I'm going to wrap this up and keep to my 3. So there's an example that comes to mind of another public health consultant that dedicated her whole day to spending, like she would be really anxious about all the things she had to do. And sometimes, and I can relate to this, you can be so preoccupied with all the things you have to do that you really do nothing because you're so focused on all the things you have to do. And it just feels like you're not being as productive. But when she sat down to start developing some time to work on this, she started to see, okay, I've crafted 3 questions or 3 areas of focus for the next time. And she would just start chopping it down one thing after another. And then she started to get some traction and feel some momentum. So just if you're feeling overwhelmed and you feel like there's so much by all these examples I'm giving you, like, I don't know where to start. We'll start with narrowing it down to like one area that you're going to focus on. What is the one thing I need to get some clarity on right now, or I need to address right now? And just start there. Your business needs your attention, and only you can do this. Only you can work on your business. Other people can work in your business, but only you can work on your business. Your business needs your attention, not just your effort. So not just you working in it, but working on the business. So block out some time, protect it, and show up with a plan. I encourage you to explore our website, publichealthentrepreneurs.com. If there's any way that I can support you, if you need additional help with any of the strategies that I teach or talk about on this podcast, please reach out to us through the website. Let us know, and we can explore the opportunities to work together. And make sure that you subscribe to our Public Health Entrepreneurs podcast newsletter, because that way you'll receive updates about new episodes, events, programs, and anything that we have going on. All right, everyone. Until next time, have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you for listening. Visit publichealthentrepreneurs.com to learn more.